Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Off the Wire, which would also be known or you would recognize it as the Liberty Lunch Break Show, the topic du jour. We're going to keep the same fundamental things, but I want to coagulate everything under the off the wire brand. And so we're gonna call this Off the Wire. And when I do the live shows, it will be Off the Wire live. So all recordings from here on out will be Off the Wire. And then when they're live, it will be Off the Wire live. But as you can see, as the banner says below, same thing as always, just a different name. The Liberty Lunch Break from Off the Wire, the topic du jour. So, what is the topic du jour? Our First Amendment is being shredded. Now, to some of you, that may be like, well, yeah, we kind of know that. And you should. If you don't, then you're really not paying attention. But now we have even more concrete proof that, I'm sorry to say it, even as a libertarian who cannot stand either the Republican or the Democratic Party, if you live in a blue state, my God, are you in trouble and you need to get out and immediately. Our First Amendment, especially in blue states, is being absolutely destroyed. Miss me with your DeSantis talk. This is not on the same level, and I'm going to prove it. And I'm not even a fan of DeSantis. Never voted for Trump, never will. Same difference. Not a fan of either. Won't vote for them, won't support them. Not going to chastise you if you do. But I have every right, and I think every sane American has that does not live in a cult has the absolute right to deride you in saying, how can you support these people anymore? Speaking of the Democrats, of course. Now, before we get into that, obviously, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notifications bell on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, basically anywhere you get your podcast. Spotify, my bad, Spotify, big supporter of the show, one of my main platforms. Apple is actually bigger somehow. I don't get that one, but maybe that's self-projection. Anyway, follow me all over the place: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google, all the podcast stuff, Instagram. Twitter is my main platform. So please, please, please do that. Also, this show is brought to you by an infinite amount of waiting time for me to get to the sponsor. My bad. At _infinite zeal. At _infinite zeal. INFINITEZEAL. Capital I, capital Z. Infinite zeal. At _infinite zeal. Thank you, my friend. You are a great supporter of liberty, the movement. He puts his money where his mouth is. I suggest that you do the same. Go follow him on Twitter. Check out his bio. There's a link there that you can help support him since he helps support us. Now, that being said, how can we prove that our First Amendment, specifically in an atrocious level, should have said it like this: how can we prove at an atrocious level that blue states are destroying your free speech? Well, I have the proof right here. And it's beyond just proof. It's frightening. And if you don't think that this is frightening, then I have news for you. You are not paying attention and you do not know how our system is supposed to operate. This great experiment that we call America that is failing by the day. There's a reason that the First Amendment is the first one. And the first one doesn't work without it being backed up by the second one. Oh, you know what? Let me go ahead and I'm sorry, I was not prepared for this, but let's do it. So I have my infamous "Don't Tread on Me," my Gadsden flag, but here's the newest one that I just got in, I think yesterday. I've got to find out where to put it, but as you can see, Molon Lave. Molon Lave. Gonna figure out where to put it. None of these things exist. None of these things are possible without the First and Second Amendment. So come and take them because I'm going to keep saying what I want to say. You can deplatform me. I've been deplatformed several times, and you guys still keep coming back. So there's that. Now let's get into it. Here's the first one. And a couple of these are old news, and you might have already heard them. I'll be honest with you, very, very transparent right now. I was very frustrated to hear, news organizations that are bigger than mine, like Temple, or I don't know if he reported on it, but I know the Daily Wire did. And I think the Blaze did. I'm not sure, but I was very frustrated that I took last week off because, quite honestly, and if you watch the show, you can see that I'm very much more tan. And actually, this is my natural kind of skin tone outside of the winter coat. But I've been swamped, and I was like, crap. I should have absolutely just sucked it up and did the show because I wanted to report on it before anybody else. I have that story ready. I also have a preemptive story ready for that one. Let's get into the first one. This is from ABC, May 2nd. Woman who allegedly set fire to gay pride flag outside of New York City restaurant found mentally unfit for trial. Did you hear that? Let me read it again. Forget the mentally unfit part. She was charged with setting fire to what seems to be at this point our new nation's religion. And shout out to Jesse Kelly. I disagree with him a lot, but great phrase. We are now the U.S. of gay. I mean, look, we've prioritized our entire society and our entire culture around this Neanderthal concept of we should base our entire identity and use special treatment on people because they want to put their junk somewhere different than normal. Weird. Or is it weird? It's not weird. I'll tell you where that comes from. It's called Mao's Cultural Revolution. I talk about it often because it bears repeating. Now, the quote unquote "Make America Gay Again" flag was outside a restaurant in Soho. That's amazing. Make America gay again. We've never been more gay. And this is so stupid. I cannot beat this into the ground enough. How on earth are we having this quote unquote sexual revolution? That's one thing. Put that aside, right? Like I've always been down as a classical liberal. Like, the government shouldn't be involved in your bedroom. That's your business. Now here we are. Make America gay again. America was never gay. We've never been more gay than we are now. And by the way, stop letting these people co-opt language, right? Gay means happy. The rainbow is a promise from God himself that he will never flood the earth again. We allow these things to happen. And I say we, a lot of people will associate that rhetoric with conservatism. It's not. This is basic knowledge and basic implementation of moral practices and saying, hey, we need to maintain our etymological substance, our foundations, should I say. Excuse me. It's amazing. And this is why Michael Malice nailed it. He said conservatives are just progressives doing the speed limit. Okay, so and here's something else I want to really, really drive home. Stop calling stuff woke. Stop that. Number one, it's freaking cringe. It's cringe as hell, right? And it always was in my mind. Maybe for you it's different. But here's why I say that. Not because it's cringe, although it is. And it's like nails on a chalkboard. Stop saying woke or wokeism or all that crap. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're coming from. You are giving a pass to what it actually is. And it is modern day progressivism. That's what it is. And as long as you give the substitute for which they labeled it, you're playing into their game. Period. Period. Full stop. Language is always perverted first, and then everything else follows. Stop giving them that ground. Under no circumstance, I've talked about this before, under no circumstances are we afforded the availability to cede another inch of ground to these psychopath progressives, because that's what we're dealing with. It ain't woke. It ain't wokeism. That's a garbage term coined by some moronic idiot with the IQ of a freaking paper plate. And it caught. This is always the problem with people fighting against progressive leftism. It's always reactionary instead of initiating the war. In the war, always start a hypothetical war, right? Like it's an ideological war, not an actual physical, shooting war or even a Cold War. Although America may be there, putting that aside, it's an ideological war, hypothetical. Stop ceding any inch of ground to these deranged psychopaths. In fact, not only do you stop ceding the ground, you take it back. That's where I'm at this point. Because this isn't about keeping the government out of your bedroom anymore. And some would argue it never was. And that's a valid point, and we can have that conversation. But we're here in this space right here and right now to sound like Kamala Harris, who I might add will play a clip of here in just a couple of minutes. Stop ceding ground, start taking it back, and do it with the language. No. The gay movement, the LGBTQIA++ movement is no longer allowed to use rainbow. Period. Because that is a promise from God, biblical promise from God to never flood the earth again. Start taking the ground back. Also, Pride flag, Pride Month. There's a good level of pride, meaning I take pride in the work that I do. I'm an upstanding employee. I'm a great father to the best of my ability. I'm a great husband to the best of my ability, and I will take pride in that. Taking quote unquote pride in your sexual activity, wrong pride. That's obvious. It's evident. All right. Now, woman who allegedly set fire to gay pride flag outside New York City restaurant found mentally unfit for trial. And there's really no more reason to carry on other than to inform you as to why she was unfit for trial, mentally unfit for trial. But it doesn't matter. Why was she arrested for setting a flag on fire? Now, if you're like me, you are a principled person. I say, you want to set the American flag on fire? Go for it. Freedom of speech. I may disagree with you. In some circumstances, I don't. I think for real. When it comes to the police state, when it comes to the military industrial complex, when it comes to global imperialism, yes, I agree. And hey, you should probably, we need to really reconsider our quote unquote pride in America, or what it is to be proud to be American. Why should you be proud to be American? You were born here. You should be grateful to be American. You shouldn't be proud because you chose, or even if you don't think that it was a choice, to live an alternative sexual lifestyle. That's not a proud thing. You can say, I'm proud that despite of all of the circumstances that came against us, I was still bold enough to speak out against the bigotry and hatred. That's admirable. Even, even as someone that's a Christian, and I disagree with your lifestyle morally. If you're gay, if you're trans, if you're lesbian, if you're all of the freaking alphabet, whatever, I don't care. I don't care. I support your strength to stand up at the time when it wasn't cool. Now it's a social trend. Now it's a social contagion, and the numbers bear that out big time. So no, you really have nothing to be proud about. You are literally following along the corporatist system now. You're not going against the grain. You have nothing to be proud about for following in line like a good little sheep and displaying your moral or your sexual, choices, regardless of whether or not it's still a choice. You just choose to follow it or you don't. Anyway, let's keep going because I'll continue to rant. The Make American Gay Again flag was outside a restaurant in Soho. I don't know where Soho is. Sorry. Probably it's a Manhattan restaurant, so wherever that is. The woman arrested for allegedly setting fire to a gay pride flag outside a Manhattan restaurant. An incident caught on camera was found mentally ill, unfit for trial. Angelina Cando, who was charged with hate crimes, appeared briefly in court Tuesday. Her case was adjourned to May 9th for the Manhattan District Attorney's. This dude is a complete corrupt criminal. That's Alvin Braggs. Manhattan's district attorney is Alvin Braggs. He's an absolute corrupt criminal. Let me keep going. She was a 30-year-old New York resident and charged with arson and hate crime, criminal mischief as a hate crime, and reckless endangerment as a hate crime, according to police. My God. I mean, there's no such thing as a hate crime. There's just crime. There's just crime. That's it. You can hate it. You can hate the crime. It doesn't really matter why the person made the crime. It is just a crime. So really, the only hate crime is you hating the crime, if you do in fact hate it, which I'm not a fan of this. You can't just steal people's personal property and burn it, no matter what. That's ridiculous. You should be charged a fine. You steal a flag and you set it on fire. This is a non-violent crime. This is a victimless crime. Give them a penalty, right? Give them charge them. Just make them pay for the flag. Quite literally, that should be the penalty. You set somebody else's flag on fire. I don't care what the flag is. If it's mine, you just pay the person to get a new flag. This isn't difficult. But what they've done is corrupt the entire system. And this is proof positive of it. So why was she found mentally unfit? It doesn't really say. Just after 1:30 a.m. on February 20th, surveillance video showed a white SUV pull in front of Little Prince, a restaurant in Soho, the NYPD said. This is important. New York Police Department. The fire spread to the building, causing exterior damage, police said. Cando was also accused of writing, "Jesus is King." How are you accused of writing that? You should be absolutely charged for arson because you set fire to a building. Oh, by the way, Jesus is King. But lady, you are not helping us at all. Cando was also accused of writing "Jesus is King" on two NYPD cruisers parked outside of Manhattan precinct in Lower Manhattan, according to police. The incident was also caught on surveillance video, police said. She was charged with making graffiti, criminal mischief, and criminal possession of graffiti instruments, police said. Now, here's the fun part of that, if you didn't catch it. They conflated a quote-unquote hate crime because she set a flag on fire. That was the US of gay religion flag that burnt down a building. You see what they did there? Then they put in, she said Jesus is King. Now, again, lady, you are not helping at all whatsoever. Stop it. This is not the way whatsoever. But I'm trying to point out the fact that they have conflated, and I didn't think about this before. I just read it on air, straight to you. Wow. Did not know that. They're conflating. They want you to merge the idea of quote unquote hate crimes against the LGBTQ2 plus IA community with Jesus is king. That's why they did that. Because eventually, as many nations have before us, they want to just butcher Christians, period. Lock you up, kill you, just for your belief. And you can laugh at that, but the facts are that since Christianity, meaning the belief that Jesus did what he did and said what he said was true, his work was true, this has been an ongoing problem, if you want to call it that. Because when you persecute Christians, it just continues to spread. Some random dude in Nazareth, born poor in a horse barn, made the greatest impact on the world. Something to think about. Now, here we go. NYPD searches for man accused of defecating on pride flag. NBC, May 1st. New York City police are seeking the public's help as it searches for a man suspected of defacing 2 LGBTQ pride flags. But wait, there's more. That's old news. Suspect who defecated on pride flag at NYC eatery charged with hate crime. And they're trying to throw the book at the sky. So you can literally push people into the train tracks to where they get murdered. You can literally talk to people on a train. Jordan Neely enters the chat, threaten people with violence on a train in New York subway system. And they make you a hero. Even though the Marine who was professionally trained and said Jordan Neely in the restore position, the recover position, so that he wouldn't die. He just happened to die anyway. After he was threatening people on the train, not a big deal. Stab people to death, not a big deal. But oh my God, if you violate the religion of the U.S. of gay and you poop as a homeless man who was probably high and drunk on a pride flag, throw the book at him. This is where we're at. And I'm telling you right now, it's not because I believe that you are going to go and take a dump on a pride flag and take a secondary pride flag and wipe your rectum with it. Of course not. I don't believe anybody watching this show would do that. Hope not. But this homeless man, excuse me, who was high and had to, he's homeless. Do you really think this man was looking specifically for the symbolism that represents the U.S. of gay? You really think he was seeking that out? Or do you think that maybe he was just a homeless man who's high and drunk and needed to take a dump and use the nearest opportunity? We'll say it like that. I'm trying to be very careful with my words here. Suspect who defecated on a pride flag at NYC eatery charged with hate crime. New York Post, May 10th. A man who allegedly defecated on a pride flag at a Manhattan tapas bar and then drew a smiley face in the disgusting pile. That's hilarious. Actually, it's disgusting, but hilarious. Has been arrested and slapped with hate crime charges, cops said Wednesday. Fred Innocent, you can't make that up. That's his real name, Fred Innocent. 45, allegedly relieved himself on a pride flag outside Buseo 95's dining shed at West 95th Street and Amsterdam Avenue at around 10 a.m. on April 15th, according to authorities. The alleged defecator took another nearby pride flag and used it to wipe his backside. A stomach churning video shows. Obviously, I'm not going to show the video, right? But if you're talking about a dude, a homeless guy who literally drew a smiley face into a pile of feces, that's who you're going after? Really? Really? Something tells me he has some problems. Like I'm not doing that. My dog doesn't do that. Not to say that a dog could. Come on. Get out of these cities and do it ASAP. Here's the response from the restaurant owner, who is a obviously disgusting human being. If you people are going to try to sit here and sell to me compassion over Jordan Neely in the same city, who was inadvertently died due to a submission hold because he was violently threatening people. He was homeless. But now you're going to tell me like this is a massively serious problem? That another homeless man who has clear mental issues took a dump on a flag that you worship. But now all of a sudden it's a problem. Quote, obviously, we thought it was disgusting, owner Courtney Barrell told the Post last month. It was said it was sad, it was disgusting, Barrell said. It angered me that people in this world would have such hatred for others that they could do something so awful and so vile, she said. After the incident, Barrell vowed to her staff she'd add even more flags to the restaurant. Quote, I said, don't worry, because for the 2 flags that he has taken from us, I will put 50 more up, she said, and I'll wallpaper the whole restaurant with them. Lady, you are in a cult. You are in a psychopathic cult. And maybe she's not. Maybe like there's a lot of these people, admittedly, they will do this stuff just to avoid rioters from the far left. But I believe her. I'm going to believe her on face value. And you're in a cult, lady. You're in a psychopathic, deranged, mentally ill cult. Period. Full stop. God forbid a homeless man take a dump and then wipe his butt. Right? Yeah. A lot of nuance there to be had. But we'll leave it right there. I'll see you tomorrow. Same Cajun time, same Cajun channel. Galatians 2:20. And I am